Hello again, Struck Quap. Today I'm bringing you another build video for Torchlight 3, and this one is for the Railmaster plus Bloodbrinker combo. I've decided to call the build the Slamming Rupturer, because it's a slammer build that's focusing on getting as much Rupture as possible by using Spinning Blade, which does bleed, and stacking that bleed with the Bloodletter passive, and ideally, if I was lucky, I would have had one-handed sword or mace, something. I would prefer sword that also does bleed to just get those ruptures to proc more often. So more about gear in the gear segment, but in general the build is fun. It's probably viable to reach the end of the Vizier dungeon. I'm not seeing as high damage as my Miasmic Train build, which definitely can be taken to the end, but I think the build in the right hands, when you play it well enough, can take you all the way to the end of the end game. It's definitely got some burst potential when you have full energy, with Egg of Mayhem combined with Spinning Blade, and if you stack damage to Spike Drive, you can get some very nice and nasty hits on enemies with Spike Drive too. And there's also Pound, there's also Busting Charge as usual, and I've even included Blood Seekers so we can heal up a little. I've also included Living Barrier, but I didn't put it on my skill bar. Oh, actually, never mind, I did put it in my skill bar. Living Barrier is also there for healing as one pointer. If you want, you can rework the skills, maybe invest more points into Living Barrier. I don't like the knockback of tier 1 Living Barrier on melee builds, so I keep it as one pointer. In general, more about the skills in the next segment, but in general I think it's definitely a build some of you might like if you want something that's different than my body slams, but it's still a Blood Drinker build without the train. Well, hope this is something to your liking. Here we are at the segment where I'm going to show you how I've spent the skill points and why. So I'm gonna start by saying I've decided to put 0 points into Conductor, 45 Blood Drinker, 25 Slammer. So with the Slammer side of things, we've got Spike Drive maxed out. It's a main source of damage for the build, and I like the bonuses of every single tier of this skill. Now, Tier 3 Hammer Spin, I strongly suggest using it. It's great damage reduction, it's gonna help you survive, and that extra damage bonus to relic skills in the Tier 2 is also amazing, and so is the Tier 1 bonus. Now, Lantern Flash I'm not using as an active skill, I'm only using it as a passive, and the passive is the Tier 2 bonus, which gives me 65% damage versus stunned, blinded or slowed, and this applies to anything. It applies to basic attacks, it applies to Hammer Spin, to Pound, to Spike Drive, to Blasting Charge, to anything I do. It even applies to my Dance of Death and Spinning Blade relic skill. So anything that hits a slowed target would benefit from this 65% weapon damage. Keep in mind, you cannot slow targets if they're bosses, unless you use a skill like Spike Drive or other skill that causes slow. I'm not sure whether this is a bug or intended, but you cannot slow with affixes such as Chance to Slow on Shield. But I still suggest using such an affix just to slow regular enemies without needing Spike Drive all the time. Now, Busting Charge, I normally take Tier 2, but this time I took Tier 1. And that's because I wanted more skill points for the relic side of things. If you think you need Tier 2 Busting Charge, you might wanna rework the skills a little, and the same goes for Pound. I only took the Tier 2 bonus for the 20% Slammer skill damage. If you want more damage, if you want Pound maxed out, then find 4 points. And where can you find points? From some of those things. For example, you might not want as much energy generation and sacrifice Energizer. I would strongly advise against this. If you want points, maybe one of the good things you can sacrifice Dance of Death Tier 3 and just keep it at Tier 2. or you can sacrifice Blood Letter if your weapon gives you chance to bleed, and that gives you 5 points. This 1 point here was just spare, I didn't know where to put it. I tested playing with Bloody Chalice and I tested playing with Blades for Cutting, and Blades for Cutting was proccing much more often than Bloody Chalice, and it seemed like a better 1 pointer. You can remove Rupture, but that defeats the whole purpose of the build. If you don't use Rupture, it's just not a Rupturer build. I wouldn't suggest removing Spinning Blade. I mean, if you want a Drain build, I've got another Slammer build on my website and on my YouTube channel. This is supposed to be a build that doesn't use Drain. That's why I went for Spinning Blade and Butt Seekers. This 1 point, ideally I would put into Butt Seekers maybe and find another point for Butt Seekers. But there's no place from where I can sacrifice that 1 point unless I get skill points to a certain skill from my helmet, which I couldn't, but ideally I would get +1, 2 or 3 points to a certain skill that I'm using, and then remove points and then put them into Butt Seekers and move that point there, so I can get twice as many. But actually Butt Seekers is something you don't really need. You might keep Butt Seekers at level 6, that gives you 2 points. With this one that gives you 3 points, and those 3 points you can easily put into Blasting Charge. That's gonna be nice. And if you want Pound, you can sacrifice 1 point Butt Letter, 2 points Butt Seeker, remove this point, a total of 4 points, and boom, you have a Pound level 8. So yeah, there's ways how this build can be flexible. This is my main damage skill, but for healing I decided to include Butt Seekers. But for healing you don't need more than tier 1. Of course tier 3 would be double the healing, because double the missiles, and each missile heals separately. But again, it's up to you. If you use Butt Seekers, that means you're not going to be using Spinning Blade as much as possible, and that means you're not going to be bleeding as much as possible, which means not enough Rupture and not enough Egg of Mayhem procs. So I hope it's clear. I hope it's clear why I've taken some of those skills, and I hope it's clear how you can rework the skills in a way that you might like, different than the suggested one. Now, before moving on to the Legendarium, I'd like to first mention that my gear right now is pretty tragic. I'm using a green sword, and yeah, I lost my sword and I lost my chest armor for just to get 5 seconds of footage without the HUD activated. And yeah, the wife bound system is shitty, terrible. The worst thing in the game right now is the wife bound system. So I really hope they reconsider making it better, maybe a system with durability. But yeah, due to this shitty system, I lost my sword, I lost my chest, and keep that in mind before going into the Legendarium, because I want to mention some item related things. So first of all, I'm wearing Cosmic Helmet, pants and boots right now, and I'm swatting the breastplate. Ideally, there's 4 good pieces of the Cosmic set. Out of those 4 pieces, I would suggest getting 3 equipped, and maybe swatting 1, maybe just ignore the other one. Must have would be the Cosmic Breastplate and the Cosmic Helmet. Wear 2 or wear 1, swat the other, but whichever you wear, you need to make sure you are wearing 3 pieces of the set. So you could wear, like me, the helmet, the legs and the boots, and swat the breastplate, and that's fine. But that's only gonna be fine once they fix the legendary broken affixes. Right now legendary items cannot get flat damage or elemental percent damage, and more about that in the gear segment. The same goes for weapons. Legendary weapons cannot get certain affixes, blue ones and green ones can get. So since we have new sets, my ideal setup would be using 3 cosmic pieces and 4 ember pieces. So my ideal setup would be, when they fix all those broken things, wearing the cosmic breastplate, the cosmic helmet and the cosmic legs. And on top of that you're wearing the ancient ember shoulders, the ancient ember gloves and the ancient ember boots while swatting the ancient ember chest. Another worthy mention would be Ancient Ember Helmet, if you want to turn it into more of a Blood Seeker rather than a Spinning Blade build. But this is majorly an Egg of Mayhem Spinning Blade build. I would say Egg of Mayhem is a must-have item. Berserk Crusher, it's a very good item, but I wouldn't say it's a must-have. But Egg of Mayhem is a must-have. So in this other slot, you can put Ancient Ember Helm, or you can put another Ancient Ember item. I mean, you don't need the pens because we are not using Drain. But yeah, you can try and rework, maybe put another Cosmic item here, maybe have 4 Cosmic, 4 Ancient Ember, or have 5 Ancient Ember. In any case, you want the helmet, the chest and the legs of the Cosmic, you want the shoulders, the gloves and the boots of the Ancient Ember equipped, and then in the Legendarium you want Egg of Mayhem and Ancient Ember chest. The other piece could be the Ancient Ember helmet, it could be the Cosmic boots, it could be something else that you like a Centrifugal Demolisher. It's entirely up to you. But yes, there's some interesting synergies that you can achieve. So now that we've talked about the Legendarium, now that everything's clear, let's move on to the pet skills. So for the pet skills, you would want the Deadlier Strikes one if you're whacking crit chance. If you have enough crit chance, keep in mind the limit is 40%, you cannot get more than 40% crit chance. If you have enough, then okay, leave it maybe at Defender or Increased Awareness or Running Partner, but I prefer using Deadlier Strikes. Because I prefer wearing one-handed, not two-handed weapons, so I can have more defense from a shield. I say Healing Friendship is a must-have. Healing Friendship is a must-have and the rest is up to you. I use Battle Cry and Immobilize, but you might want Screeching Sun for that stun synergy, but it's a shitty long cooldown. So I hope it's clear, and let's move on to the gear segment next. Here we are at the gear segment, where I'm going to talk about the items I suggest for each slot and the affixes that you would want on those items. Before I go on, I would like to mention again right now, there's some things broken in the game, and we have it confirmed that they are actually broken, they're not intended. So for a long time I thought legendary items like weapons cannot roll with flat damage, and I thought that legendary armor on the chest and legs cannot roll with flat damage, like this ice. For example, this is right now not possible on a legendary chest to get ice damage or physical or poison or fire. Any type of flat damage you cannot get on chest pieces. And yeah, another thing that you cannot get right now on legendary items is on chest. You can also get not just the flat but also percent of the same or another element. Then on this one you can get flat and percent on blue ones, but not on legendary of a certain elemental damage. And on boots you can get elemental percent, not flat, on blue items. But on blue and legendary you can get crit damage on chest, crit damage on boots, and crit chance on cosmic pen, on any type of legendary pants and blue pants. So ideally here you would have something like a blue chest with percent damage to spike drive and then flat damage or crit damage. It's gonna work very nicely. Any combination of those three would be a good choice. And at the top again you would want defense, and in the socket you would want more defense, maybe elemental even. Then on those you would want again flat at the top, crit chance in the middle, maybe damage with spike drive, maybe some flat damage, maybe elemental defenses, etc. That's gonna be fine. And on the boots, if you're going for legendary ones, you would want the crit damage, maybe some endurance regen and defenses. If you're going for blue ones, you might try and match only if you're stacking the same element. You might want to match percent elemental damage. Then what you would want on the shoulders, again, spike drive and crit damage, perfect bonuses, but you really want that defense at the top. On the gauntlets you can get chance to bleed if you're lucky. But I would suggest go for defenses. Defense at the top, at the bottom maybe electric or poison or fire defense, and then in the socket another type of defense. Right now mine is HP because I don't have money to reroll it, but yeah, that's pretty decent. So as a sword you would want again sword with flat damage at the top, flat damage in the middle, and bleeding in the middle, and then another flat damage at the bottom. Or if you want more DPS, less bleeding, less procs of Rupture, then flat damage at the top, 2 times flat damage in the middle, and in the socket flat damage. On the shield you would want chance to swow, you would want over 10,000 defense at the top and over 14% block chance. And next to the chance to swow, where I have fear, instead of fear you would want elemental defense or regular defense, and then in the socket you would have elemental defense or regular defense. I try to keep my regular defense physical at 40-45% damage prevented, and I try to keep my elemental ones at around 60 plus damage prevented when possible. Earlier I had 95,000 fire, and then I had 86,000 fire, but I lost some items and now I'm down to only 47 in those elements here. So on the pet items you would want a Drat neckband with pet attack speed and faster cooldown for pet active. In the bottom, at the top anything's fine, defense is not bad. Why the attack speed? Well, the attack speed makes Drat neckband proc quicker, and why the cooldown? The cooldown makes your friend healing friendship, the pet skill, get cast more often. And this is very good combination with token of invigoration, which gives you even more chance to refresh the pet cooldowns on hit. And that on hit is very good synergy again with the pet attack speed. So ideally, instead of pet crit damage and seconds to chill duration, on this invigoration token I would have had more pet attack speed and more faster pet cooldowns. And then something like Phoenix token is not bad, or token of rapid bartering is not bad, as long as it has faster cooldown for pet active skills and more attack speed. It will be nice. It will definitely be nice. So yeah, I prefer token of rapid bartering when farming, and if it has a socket you can roll even more cooldown for pet active skills. But if you notice the pet dying, you can use Phoenix. Ideally I would be using the bartering because I don't see my pet die a lot. But again, my bartering doesn't have the cooldown, so I'm using the Phoenix that has the cooldown. So that pretty much sums up I think the items. As I said in the previous segment, you would want to wear 3 pieces of Cosmic and 3 pieces of Ancient Ember when they fix everything. When they fix everything, I would be wearing the Cosmic helmet, chest and leg armor, pants. Then I would wear the Ancient Ember boots, Ancient Ember gauntlets, Ancient Ember shoulders, and swatting in the Legendarium the Ancient Ember chest with Egg of Mayhem and maybe the Berserk Crusher. So that pretty much is it. I don't think there's anything else I can say here. If I've missed something, it's probably gonna be on my website. Now let's show you more gameplay footage. And here we are at the gameplay segment, where I show you a little bit more footage of the build in action, and I might talk about how you would wanna rotate. With the rotation, there's 2 things I like to use when I start. Either Blasting Charge and Spike Drive after it, or Spike Drive then Blasting Charge. So if you have Endurance, I strongly suggest doing Spike Drive, Blasting Charge, then maybe another Spike Drive with the Endurance you get back. You can even do Spike Drive, Blasting Charge, Spike Drive, because you would get 1 more back, and if you have the Berserk Crusher you would have enough of those, and then you can move on to Pound. To do some pounding left and right, up and down. And if you need healing, there's always a living barrier to save you, to give you damage reduction and healing. When you have energy, of course, dump it on champions and bosses with spinning blade, so you can generate enough charges so you can spam Dance of Death more often. Optionally, I've included Butt Seekers for people who wanna start with Butt Seekers before dumping the energy, but that would mean one less one less spinning blade. Because let's say you have 100 energy and then you start with Butt Seekers and you do 3 times spinning blade. By the time you're done with the 3 times spinning blade, there's not gonna be enough energy to do a 4th spinning blade. So you have to decide, do I want to do 3 spinning blades with 25% extra damage, which is almost equal, it's equal to 3/4 of a spinning blade. Or do I just want to do 4 spinning blades, one after the other with my full energy? Let's say you don't have full energy, let's say you have 60 energy and you just want to do 2 spinning blades. I think then it would be really worth it to do Butt Seekers and then boom boom, spinning blade, or if you have 80 energy, Butt Seekers, then quickly 3 spinning blades, that's gonna be fine, that's gonna be okay. So I think the only case where it's probably better to just do 3 spinning blades instead of 4 would be when your energy is not full. If your energy is full, that's the case where I would suggest just go for 4 spinning blades. So hopefully this is helpful information regarding that. There's room for, in the basic attack SWAT, you can replace that. You can replace it with the Ancient Ember boots for the recharge when you get that. So I've left that SWAT there. To get notified when I upload more content like this or similar for this game or other games like it, such as Wooters of all varieties, you could subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to not miss out on notifications, and optionally you can even join as a member of the Struck Club and get access to emotes, badges or other perks such as private tutorials and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank the people who are currently YouTube members of the Struck Club. Thanks for watching this video, keep it cool, and until next time, Struck Club. Goodbye.